I'm Seamus White. I am originally from the parish of Loughgall in County Armagh, and I am one of four boys. I have a twin brother called Peder, who's 10 minutes older than me. I'm the second twin. And then I have two younger brothers, Sean and Michal. Currently, I am parish priest of Drummondtee, living in Jonesborough in lovely South Armagh. And I also look after Drummondtee as well. We have two churches in the parish. We have two primary schools, approximately 720 families in the parish. And I'm also chaplain to St Paul's High School in Bessbrook, where there are 1,600 children between 11 to 18 and approximately 102 teachers. So that is quite a challenge, and I usually visit the school twice a week on Tuesday and Thursdays just to be a presence in the school, to mix with the teachers, with the pupils, and to visit some classrooms and to provide liturgies. I suppose the first time I said I wanted to be a priest, I was 7. I was in primary 3 and I was making my first Holy Communion. And I suppose what I liked about religion class was it was a welcome break from doing maths or doing a comprehension or writing an essay. And it was just something different about learning religion than any other class that we had. We were very lucky at that time to have a very good teacher called Mrs. Smith. And one of the things I remember about First Communion was she introduced us to the Lord that we would be receiving in First Holy Communion. And one of the things she said was, at Mass, the bread becomes the body of Christ and the wine becomes the blood of Christ. And she said, it may look like bread and taste like bread, but it is the body of Christ. It may look like wine and taste like wine, but it is the blood of Christ. And somehow that captivated me. I find that fascinating. Another thing I liked as well about my preparation for First Communion was learning the story of Zacchaeus. And I think Zacchaeus is a good story that children can relate to. He was small. He climbed up a tree to see Jesus, and Jesus spotted him and invited him to come down from the tree and that he must eat at Zacchaeus' house that night. And what fascinated me about that story was that Jesus was a person. He was a person just like us. He had arms and legs, and that he walked on this earth. And I think, even as a child, I may not have had the vocabulary, but I realised that Jesus was a person, and I suppose I was attracted to that. And also the mystery of what happens at Mass, what happens at the consecration, that the bread and wine is changed into the body and blood of Christ. It may look like bread, it may taste like bread, but it is the body of Christ. It may look like wine, taste like wine, but it is the blood of Christ. And I think that just was a very simple way of conveying the mystery of the Eucharist to us as children. And as I said, I just was very captivated by that. I was lucky too in the sense that, my parents were good, at good Mass goers. They wouldn't be overtly religious, as they would say, but my father would have sang in the choir. My parents both read in the church. I was an altar server with my 3 brothers. Later on, I became a reader myself. My mother would have taken her turn at doing the church, cleaning the church, doing the flowers with her friend, and sometimes we would have helped with that. After leaving the altar, I would have joined my father in singing in the choir, and seeing them up reading gave me the desire to get up and read as well. But also, as well as that, I noticed as well there was a lot of girls from the parish would have been up reading, and there was very few boys were up reading. So I thought I would get up there and do a bit of reading to make sure that some of the lads needed to start participating. But I suppose to bring the whole vocation story to a summary, I would say I was just find it fascinating that Christ was a real person, and that's what drew me to him. Later on, of course, I put that to the back of my mind. I thought of other careers. And then when it came to leaving school, well, first of all, in fifth year rather, I remember a young priest came and spoke to us about his own congregation, which was a missionary order. And I sent away for information from them. They told me about their work. I did feel initially inspired to be a missionary. I liked the work that they did. I was drawn to that. I felt a desire maybe to to see the world and to be a missionary, because, and also my parents had cousins who were missionary priests as well. One with the Kiltegan Fathers and another one with the Columban Fathers. So there was a missionary tradition in the family, and I had thought about that. But then my father died very suddenly when I was 15, and that changed things a little bit, and I started to wonder about, I didn't like the idea of leaving my country and leaving my family. And basically, I remember one day before we left school, I spotted an advert in Armagh Parish Bulletin, which advertised a Vocations weekend in Drummondtine College, the SMA college there. And that's where I first met the Vocations director at that time, which was Canon McIntyre at the time. He was parish priest of Coal Island, later became the parish priest of Dungannon. And what I liked about that weekend was there was 24 or 25 of us, and I realised that I wasn't the only one thinking about vocation. I got great encouragement from that. And I met Canon McIntyre there. Also, that weekend, we were there from the Friday to the Sunday. Different people spoke to us about the priest and the place of the priest in their lives, like a married couple, a young person. We had some of the seminarians from Maynooth who were there talking to us about what seminary life was like. We had some priests from the diocese who had just been ordained recently, and they spoke to us about their own journey to priesthood. So I think I was inspired about listening to their journeys. And we met Cardinal O'Fee. This was in 1990, just a few months before he died. This was in March. And Cardinal O'Fee said that the missionary countries are doing well at the moment for vocations, and that the diocese needed vocations. So I suppose that the fact that Cardinal O'Fee said that, the fact that my father wasn't long dead, I thought, well, maybe I'll go for the diocese, and that shifted my focus to go for the diocese. And just before Cardinal O'Fee died, I made application to go to the seminary. And then I decided to go in 1991, and I did 6 years in Maynooth, a 2-year philosophy course, and then the theology course after that. And my first parish was Cady in County Armagh, where I served there for 5 years, from 1997 to 2002. Then 1 year in Portadown from 2002 to 2003, followed by 14 years in Dungannon, and now I am 4 years in the parish of Drummondtine. So I've actually clocked up 24 years as a priest, and looking back, I just can't believe how quickly the time has gone. It has just gone so fast, but that's also because I have been busy as well, and I have to say that I found the last 24 years have been challenging, fulfilling, but it has just been, it's just a wonderful privilege to be a priest. I would say to them, and I think I would give the same advice that I was given, and it was Monsignor McIntyre gave us this advice. He said, think about it, talk about it, and pray about it. And I think that's good advice. I kept it quiet to myself for a long time, and then eventually I started to chat to it about a friend, a neighbour of mine who knew me very well. And so I'd say find people who know you well, chat to them about it, see what they think. Then gradually I told my family about the vocation idea, and they were very supportive. Yes, I have 3 brothers, as I said, including a twin brother who was also challenging as well as being supportive. I would just say, talk about it, think about it, and pray about it. I would say give it the space that it needs. And I went into Maynooth in 1991 with a very open mind. I went in And I thought to myself, if it works out, fine, that'll be great. But if it doesn't work out, that's okay too, because no matter what experiences I would have had in the seminary, that could only be a positive thing for the rest of my life. And yeah, I would say be open to it. With myself, I will be very honest, as time went on, for leaving school, I did try to push it aside. I tried to put it to the back of my mind. There would have been a time when maybe I hoped it would pass, that maybe I would grow out of it. But it seemed to persist. And I just thought, well, maybe this is something I need to look at, something I need to listen to. And I remember coming here to this house to visit one of the priests here in the parish of Armagh, Father Naughton, and I had a chat with him about my vocation and what would it involve in terms of training to be a priest. So he sat and talked to me about that, and I asked him about what would be the main challenges and difficulties of the priesthood. But I would say don't let negativity put you off. I would say do not be afraid. Go to the seminary if you feel called and try it out. And that's what the seminary is there for. It's there for people to try out their vocation. And whatever you experience there can only be a good experience, whether you decide to become a priest or not.